This PlayStation 4 coverage is brought to you by AppWin.com, a site where you can win prizes by downloading and rating apps. Be sure to check it out using the link below. Hey guys, how are you? David Franco here from GearPop.com as well as the FrancoGaming.com. Today's video is all about the PlayStation 4 and finally my official review. I have been recording tons of PlayStation 4 related videos, starting with the unboxing, leading up to my first impressions, my review of the DualShock 4, a tour of the PlayStation dynamic menu, and more. So we finally reached this point, so I'm very happy to say that. So starting at my PlayStation 4 review, let's talk about hardware specs and everything the PS4 has to offer under the hood. The hood. Alright, so the PlayStation 4 has an 8-core low-power AMD Jaguar processor with a very impressive GPU offering 1.84 teraflops of performance, but in simpler terms, let's just say it offers the AMD Radeon Graphics Core Next engine with 8GB of GDDR5 RAM, as well as 256 megabytes of extra DDR3 RAM reserved specifically for things such as background processing and downloads. Also included is a 500GB 5400 RPM hard disk drive, which is user replaceable, so that's definitely something pretty cool to keep in mind, as well as a Blu-ray drive for your games, obviously, and of course your Blu-ray movies. But with that said, as of today, there is no official support for 3D Blu-ray movies. Okay, so talking about ports, the PlayStation 4 offers 2 USB 3.0 ports, an HDMI out port for your video and audio, as well as an optical out port if that's how your setup is configured, Ethernet jack, obviously, and Wi-Fi, as well as Bluetooth 2.1. Alright, so speaking on a more personal level, at least in terms of my opinion, let's discuss the overall design of the PlayStation 4 and whether or not I like it. Okay, so I gotta be honest. When Sony officially unveiled the PS4, at least initially, I wasn't that impressed. I thought it looked kind of weird. It's kind of like a skewed box. I was like, wait a minute, what? But seeing it in person, guys, I have a completely opposite opinion now. Seriously, the PlayStation 4 actually looks pretty freaking nice. So I gotta give Sony props for two things. One, they went with a slanted parallelogram, which is definitely unique. And two, I gotta give them props because it blends in very nicely with my entertainment center, which for me is an important aspect to keep in mind, but for others, maybe not so important. And finally, last but not least, Sony, like Microsoft, has finally included a headset with their console. Now granted, it's literally a cheap little earpod, that's a trademark by Apple, an earbud that just sits in your ear and you get a little cheap microphone with a mute button. But hey, I gotta say, it does the job pretty well. And according to my viewers, when I did a couple live streams, like maybe a week or two ago, they said the quality actually sounded fine. Alright, so moving on in the hardware department, let's briefly talk about the DualShock 4. Now obviously, I've talked about this thing plenty in my review video, my first look and unboxing video, and all that good stuff. So let me just say this. This is hands down, without a doubt in my mind, Sony's best controller yet, and if you're interested in watching my full review, that link is right below. And that's all I'll say, because I have beaten that horse to death. Beaten that horse to death. No, beat a dead horse. That didn't sound right either way. I swear I love horses. Alright, let's talk games, guys, because without games, what's the point of having a gaming console? So first up is Killzone Shadowfall, which as you probably know, is one of two Sony's exclusive titles for the PS4. Now, I already talked about Killzone Shadowfall plenty, and you know what? I'm going to link you right below again to my Killzone Shadowfall review. But I will just say this, I enjoyed the game a lot more than I expected, and actually I'm enjoying the game a lot more than others have been enjoying it, but that's pretty much because Killzone Shadowfall is officially my first Killzone game ever, so I didn't really have high expectations going in. But I will say this right now, Killzone Shadowfall is hands down probably the best looking console game I have ever experienced. If you want anything to show off what the PS4 is capable of as of today, pick up Killzone Shadowfall. You will not be disappointed, at least graphically. And then there's Knack, the only other exclusive as of now for the PlayStation 4. Now, I haven't played it, but according to reviewers out there, it's a so-so game. I mean, some websites are giving it excellent reviews, and some websites are giving it like 3 or 4s out of 10. So I guess Knack is the type of game that you gotta pick up yourself and try for yourself. But of course, there are tons of multi-platform titles on the PlayStation 4 to keep you busy, such as Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, Madden 25, and many, many more. I just missed my thumb again. That's not the first time I've done that. However, I will say Sony definitely has the upper hand in the launch department when it comes to indie titles. And the PlayStation 4 does not disappoint whatsoever, especially with titles like Resogun. I am absolutely loving Resogun. It may appear simple to some people, but the amount of particle effects that game pulls off, it's just downright incredible. It's actually a technical achievement. Or technological achievement. I think that can go either way. But of course, you also have the choice of choosing games like Contrast, Warframe, Blacklight Retribution, and DC Universe Online, of which all are free if you have a PlayStation Plus membership. And guys, the PlayStation 4 does include 1 month free of PlayStation Plus, which is pretty sweet if you ask me, as well as a $10 store credit for the PlayStation Store. So if you want to buy a game like Flower, which I think sells for like $7 or maybe $8, I'm pretty sure it's $7, then you can get that for technically free. Alright, so wrapping up the games portion of this video, I gotta say the exclusives are definitely disappointing, especially if you just have games like Killzone Shadowfall and Knack, but Sony easily makes up for that with, again, a strong indie launch lineup. Let's talk the PlayStation 4 experience, because without the games and a decent experience, there is no point in even owning the PlayStation 4. And guys, you know what? You're probably sick of hearing this by now, but I'm going to say it again. Live streaming via Twitch and Ustream on the PS4 is just stupidly awesome. And by stupidly awesome, I just mean it's just so incredibly easy to get up and running, especially if you have a PlayStation camera within your setup. Because I gotta say, sitting on the couch with the PlayStation camera, using it as my FaceTime, seeing in the live chat and doing live commentary to the chat room, I can't express enough how much I love that. It is easily one of my favorite features about the PlayStation 4 thus far. And now the second thing I want to talk about regarding the PS4 experience is jumping between games and apps to the PlayStation dynamic menu. It's just easy. It just works. You press the PlayStation button, it puts the game on hold, and you can check your friends list. You can even go to the PlayStation Store. You can change your system settings. You can pretty much do anything you want. Alright, so while the PlayStation dynamic menu is a huge improvement, at least in my opinion, over the PlayStation 3's cross-media bar, it could definitely use some organizational cleanup. For instance, as of right now, all of my apps are literally like this. One giant row. So if I want to go from my recently played games such as Resogun all the way to Sony Music Unlimited, which I haven't opened up in maybe a week, meaning it'll be far to the right, then I have to scroll all the way to the left, to the right, and then select it. But according to sources I've seen online, there is apparently an update in the works that will allow you to organize your games and apps into a folder, so that kind of remains to be seen. So until then, we're just gonna have to deal with one giant row. But if you ask me, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it doesn't completely break apart my experience. Just right now, it's just kind of inconvenient. This next thing is definitely a huge letdown for many people, not so much for me personally, but let's just say this. The PlayStation 4, as of this video anyway, does not support media streaming via your network, or even playing MP3s or audio CDs directly within the PS4 itself. Now, you might be thinking, why did Sony overlook such a basic feature in such an advanced console? I'm not really sure. It's just one of those things, because the Xbox One plays audio CDs and MP3s, but the PlayStation 4 doesn't. Again, not a huge deal whatsoever to me, because I honestly cannot remember the last time I wanted to play an audio CD in a video game console. Well, I can. That was back in the days of the Xbox and the PlayStation 2. But still, coming from the Wii, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and now all the way up to the Wii U, the PS4, and the Xbox One, it hasn't once been a concern of mine. But then again, this might be a huge concern for you. So it just comes down to your overall usage of the PlayStation 4 and what you're looking to get out of it. Okay, so while Sony may be lackluster in the local and network streaming department in terms of your own files and movies and all that good stuff, I am happy to say, and this pretty much goes without saying, is you get this sort of thing no matter what device you use, including your TV and probably your toaster. But the PS4 does come with all the apps that you've come to expect, such as Netflix, Redbox, Instant, and so much more. Even Crunchyroll, which I'm not an anime fan, but if you're an anime fan, Crunchyroll is there. Now let's talk about PlayStation Plus. You probably know this already if you watch my previous PS4 related videos, but I was never a PlayStation Plus member before the days of the PlayStation 4. The fact that the PlayStation 4 comes with 30 days free of PlayStation Plus, I'd be kind of stupid to not check it out, right? And that's just what I did, and guys, I gotta say, I'm loving it, especially with the fact that I get titles such as Resogun and Contrast for completely free. And that alone is enough to convince me to pay for my PlayStation Plus membership once my free trial expires. So the last thing I want to talk about regarding my PlayStation 4 experience is the fact that it truly does feel like a next-gen console. Especially with a title like Killzone Shadowfall. I'm gonna say it again, guys. Downright beautiful game. Some of the best graphics I've ever experienced. Gameplay is not incredibly unique or incredibly fun, but it's enjoyable enough to play through at least 2 times, and that's just what I'm doing, even if just for the trophy alone. But still, easily in the graphics department, Killzone Shadowfall just dominates. Even anything I've experienced thus far on the Xbox One. I mean, I'm loving my Xbox One to death, but I have yet to play a game on that console that blows me away like Killzone Shadowfall has on the PS4. And that kind of says a lot because I was sort of an Xbox fanboy last generation. I quote because just because I like one console more than the other, people automatically throw that term out like it means nothing. And the best part is we are still within the first month of the PlayStation 4's launch. So I can only imagine what we'll see even 6 months from now, 12 months, or just imagine 4 or 5 years. Alright, so reaching the end of my PlayStation 4 review, what is the final verdict? Honestly guys, I have decided to split my decision up into 2 options. Number 1, if you enjoy being an early adopter like I do, and you don't mind games like Killzone Shadowfall and Knack, as well as indie titles such as Resogun, Contrast, and Warframe, then yes, the PS4 is definitely worth it. And now for option 2, I gotta say, if you're purely in it for the games and an awesome launch library lineup, then maybe the PlayStation 4 isn't worth it right now. So it's probably best to wait until next year when games like Watch Dogs and Drive Club become available. So that is my best way of looking at it, and I'm sure you guys realize this already, but I easily fall into option number 1 because I'm definitely an early adopter, whether it's video game consoles, iPhones and iPads, computers, whatever. I always enjoy being an early adopter, and I just love that new kind of experience and kind of seeing how it goes with other early adopters. It's just fun to me. Now yes, granted there are plenty of bugs plaguing both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, so getting one this early in the game, you're definitely taking a risk, but thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't experienced any major issues. The only small problem I've run into is my Xbox One controller. The left analog stick felt kind of weird, but thankfully Microsoft is sending me one for completely free. Yes, I realize that doesn't apply to the PlayStation 4, but that's just one example of the kind of risk you take when buying something early, such as the PS4, the Xbox One, or even the Wii U, which did have hardware issues last year. And guys, there you have it. This is my PlayStation 4 review. Again, only made possible by appwin.com. Seriously, check them out. If it wasn't for them, I would not have a PS4 this early, and I'm incredibly grateful for their generosity. So definitely check it out, appwin.com, and ironically, they're actually giving away an Xbox One right now, as well as any game of your choice. And of course, huge thanks to all of you guys for watching my PlayStation 4 coverage. Seriously, this has been so much fun, and definitely expect more videos regarding the PS4 after the holidays, as well as my Xbox One related videos, which should be coming up in just maybe a week or 2, depending on my schedule. And now guys, I am done. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Let me know what you think of the PlayStation 4. Did you buy one? Are you buying one? Or do you just not care all that much? You guys are awesome, and I will see you in my next video, which is all about Loot Crate, Nerd Block, Logitech speakers unboxing, as well as Thanksgiving, Black Friday, my Christmas in New York trip, my birthday, Christmas, possibly a New Year's video, and finally, CES in Vegas. Needless to say, my video lineup is insane, and I cannot wait to share it with everyone. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Peace. Appwin.com is a site where you can win prizes like iPods, iPads, gift cards, and more, simply by downloading and rating apps. Get started right away by using the link below.